Hey people of the internet, this is JuLeDoS. Hey people internet, so I did make a review for push mode, but the files accidentally got deleted. Oops. And I was kind of tired of talking about push mode, so I decided that I would review a little bit more obscure game, and that game is Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclocked, if the camera will focus. Yeah, I'll be doing a review on that right now, and I'll still be doing a review for push mode. I'll probably be doing it after I do this review, but let's get started. This game is kind of obscure, and it's a little bit complicated, so I'm just going to tell you guys the basic premise before I start reviewing it. So, basically, you find yourself in Japan, and the whole city gets locked down, and no one can get in or get out, and your cousin gives you a comp, which is pretty much a 3DS, and you find out that it can summon demons, and every day you get mail foretelling deaths that will happen later on this day. And so you're going to try to figure out what's going on by summoning demons and talking to people, and based on what you talk about and who you talk to will pretty much determine events that'll happen in this game. So I decided to just kind of tell you guys that before I reviewed the game. So now that's over with, let me start reviewing. Presentation-wise, this game can get a little bit confusing. This is the main menu, which has a list of all the locations in the game, and you don't really actually explore the locations. You just kind of go there and you'll talk to some people or you'll battle or something, and that's a little bit confusing, but you know, it's not too bad. And then you press X to pull up the main menu with all your different options. You have Profile, where you can look at all of your characters and just kind of see what they are. Fusion, where you can fuse demons, which I'll get to in a minute. Your team, which is pretty much just your team. Your auction, where you can buy demons. A list of all the demons you have. Your mail, which is kind of crucial to the game every day. Just going back. And then you have just some settings and saving. So presentation-wise, this game, it's a little bit confusing at first, but after you get over the initial confusion, you'll like it. So the presentation, I'll give it a B-. The gameplay is going to be kind of hard to review on this one since there's just so much, but the main gameplay takes place battling, where you're moving around on a typical strategy RPG plane. Nothing too special here, but the battles are where it's really unique, and I like it. When you attack an enemy, or an enemy attacks you, a battle screen comes up, and you can use all your various spells and attacks to attack the demons, and if you knock out the demon in the middle, then the whole party is dead. And I really like this battle system because, you know, it just kind of feels unique for strategy RPG, and I really like it. The previously mentioned menu is pretty much a place that lets you decide what you want to do next in the story. Basically, there are story-driven events that have you talking to people, or battles that will trigger events later on in the story. And there are multiple paths in the story, meaning your choices will affect what happens in the game. So that's pretty good, and the menu is kind of nice. It's just kind of a hub, sort of, even though there's not actually anything beyond the menu. And then in addition to the main bulk of the gameplay, the battles and talking to people, you also have the demon auction, where you can bid on demons, which I'll just go ahead and show you. It's good to be rich. And as you kind of buy more demons in the auction, your rank will go up and you can buy more powerful demons. So overall, this game feels really well crafted in its gameplay, and the gameplay is just really fun, although it can grow kind of stale after playing it for a while like I have. But if you just go ahead and take a break for a couple days and come back to it, you'll find that the fun just never really stops. And so for gameplay, I'm going to give this game A. The graphics in this game are fine, although you're going to be looking at the same environments, characters, demons, etc. for a lot, and it'll get a little bit repetitive, but the graphics, they also don't really add too much over the original one. I actually prefer the original DS game's graphics, just because I don't really like the text in this one. I think the old one was just kind of minimalist, and that was the best they could do, and it looked a lot better. But that's just my opinion. The graphics, although they'll get kind of stale, the demons look really cool, and the graphics, I really can't complain too much about them, so I'll give them a B-. And controls-wise, I actually felt that the controls were a little bit weird in this game, mostly due to the fact that this game's, I don't know what to call it, battlefield, it takes place on a diagonal slant, and so, as you can see, when I move right, it will go kind of in the lower right, direction rather than right, because it can't go right since it's not in a vertical, horizontal type of thing. And that can get a little bit frustrating at first since the game doesn't really prompt you about the controls too much, but hey, that's what instruction manuals are for, and the controls don't feel too bad or anything, and navigating the menus isn't too hard either with the controls. And I just never really had a hard time controlling the game after the initial frustration, so for controls, I will give this game a B. Sound-wise, the music is pretty catchy, as all you hear right now. But you're just going to be hearing the same music over and over again, and that's a little bit jarring. And there's nothing wrong with the sound, but you just hear it so much over and over again that you're bound to get tired of it. So, for sound, although it's alright, I'm going to have to give it a C for its sheer repetitiveness. Alright, now I'll just talk about how fun this game is. This game is a lot of fun to play, and I don't have any more gameplay, so you're just going to have to watch the intro again. Its gameplay is really fun. You're going to get a lot of fun fusing demons, battling, and it can get a little bit repetitive if you just like try to go through the game in a day, but I mean, you're not going to be able to long enough that you're not going to be able to do that. But if you play this game, you're just going to have to kind of try to take breaks because it'll get repetitive. But overall, this game is still really fun to play if you haven't played it in a while, and so for fun, I'm going to give this game a B+ just because it can get a little bit repetitive or frustrating at times. Lengthwise, this game is one of the best lengthwise 3DS games on the market right now. It's only 1 out of 2 RPGs, so that's pretty much why. But the main quest will probably last you 40 hours. You're gonna have to do a little bit of grinding, but not so much that it'll get too repetitive, like in some other RPGs, Dragon Quest. But the length of this game is really long, and you'll spend a lot of time trying to get all the demons if you're a completionist, because you just gotta catch them all. And so the length for this game is really good for a 3DS game, so I'm going to give it an A. And lastly, before the overall score, I'm just going to talk about the difficulty, which from now on will be target audience, which is just mainly because I felt it would be a little bit more appropriate than just judging the game by its difficulty alone. And so this game is pretty difficult at times. I actually got stuck in one point for a few weeks. And so this game is pretty difficult, actually. I mean, that's because it's an RPG, but I think the target audience isn't like 10-year-old kids anyway. So I think the target audience for this game is probably kids 13 and over, because there's some mild cursing, and there's voice acting in this game, which is excellent, which I forgot to mention. But overall, I think the target audience is people over 13, because the gameplay is just kind of, you know, difficult enough, and there's enough rules because it's an RPG that you're going to need to be at least 13 to understand how to play this game properly. And so the target audience is kids 13 and over, and adults also. So overall, this is a great game. It's really lengthy, and it's really one of the best games on the 3DS right now. And although there's a couple nitpicky things that I have to talk about, which I already mentioned, this game is still really good to play, and although it's more of a remastering than a full remake, a la Ocarina of Time 3D, the improvements are good enough. It has an extra chapter added onto it, and the voice acting is pretty good. It doesn't feel forced at all or anything, and so overall, I think this is a great remastering of an obscure game that many people probably haven't played. And I think that bringing this game to the 3DS was a great idea. And so, overall, I'm going to give this game a B+ for its great gameplay and just being a good remake, I guess. So, that's my review, people on the internet. I'll see you guys later. Tell me what you thought down below.